What I do as a counsellor is about helping someone find the words or the self-expression, because not everyone has words, especially if there's somebody who's got communication needs that are different. So that could be done through singing. It can be done through drawing. It can be done, but at some point, some level of some communication would need to maybe come from the lips, even if it's just a groan. Somebody can just groan and sigh, and it's enough for you to bridge a gap between how they're feeling and what they're trying to express. So forms of self-expression through noises that our bodies make, particularly at this end of our body. Our bodies can make noises a lot lower down. But I mean, this end up, the noises we can make through here can bring about a lot of what's happening in the heart space, in the mind space, and get it from inside to out. That then can, you don't know what that could bring to another person. It could change their world. It could change their perspective on something. They might have decided to go down one route. They've heard something from you and they've chosen something different, and their life opens up. You'll never know what you could mean to another person if you don't share.
Healing Power of Your Voice with your host, Kristen Bird.
Welcome to the Healing Power of Your Voice. My name is Kristen and I am an intuitive singer, vocal teacher, Reiki healer, and in this podcast we're going to explore the healing power of the voice in all faiths and traditions through amazing guests such as my friend Jackie Leon. She is an integrative counselor and clinical supervisor. She is the creator of 2 YouTube channels, youmewetherapy and lately 8th House Speaks. Welcome, Jackie. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here with you, Kristen. It's exciting.
Today, what I would love to explore with you is your voice journey and how you're using your voice in your work as an integrative counselor and clinical supervisor. And at the end, I will share some simple techniques to open the voice, as well as we're gonna sing for love at the end, because it's all about the healing of the voice, healing through the voice. So stay tuned. But first, I have to start with your work as an integrative counselor and clinical supervisor. A little bit hard to say those words, but what led you to become a counselor and a clinical supervisor? What was it? Was that your first choice after secondary?
No. If somebody had told me at secondary at 16 that I was going to be a counsellor, I wouldn't have been surprised, because I think I had the interest in the mind, but I wouldn't have believed that. I didn't think I would have had the discipline to study for that kind of thing at leaving school age. No, not at all. So when I left school, school was a difficult journey for me anyway. So school wasn't something I enjoyed. I was often in trouble, spent a lot of time outside the classroom and in trouble. Yeah, so school wasn't a thing that I have any. The good memories I have about school are the friendships I've made. I've still got some friends from school. But so I don't associate school with leaving and having had some sort of plan. School just sounds like a rubble of mess that happened in the background. So yeah. So at the point of 16, leaving school with no clue was on track to how school was anyway. I don't think anyone pushed us. I don't remember. It wasn't a particularly good school. I don't remember much focus on what do you do when you leave school. So I remember the usual stuff. So I worked for a year. So I didn't go to any education after school. I worked a couple of jobs, and then I got into media studies. And I was particularly interested in music video production, because I grew up watching MTV, and I was very much into music, always been into music. So I wanted to get into video music production, things like that. But my first mind of what I actually wanted to do when I grew up was I wanted to be a backing singer for Bob Marley.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. But I didn't realize he had died several years before. So the thing I did want to do wasn't even possible. So, but I think it's because his music was played so continuously. I didn't realize he had died years before. Like I became into that understanding that the person who I'd like to sing for isn't alive. So,
can I ask how old were you when you realized that he was dead?
Maybe like 8, 7, 8, 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had died many years before. Yeah. So, but anyway, so I got into media studies when I left school, and then from that actually veered into hairdressing and hair and makeup, and I'd done that throughout my late teens into my early adulthood, throughout my 20s. I was just known as a hairdresser.
At what time did you decide, or what led you to become a counselor? And
so it was hairdressing, actually, because hairdressing, people open up to you, people talk to you about things. When you're with somebody and you build up a rapport with that client, if you think about I'm quite a spiritually minded person, so I'm standing behind them with my hands on their head a lot.
Oh yeah.
And somehow people will, if they have the right frequency with you, they will open up. That was not my intention, but people naturally do if they feel comfortable with my hands through their hair. And just spending time in them. I would go to their homes. I had quite a good little business.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you're saying that about hairdressers, because, for example, the hairdresser that cut my hair in June when I was just pregnant with my kid, this little one here, she was the first one to know that I was pregnant.
Really?
Because it's like, it's someone that's just there for that moment. You can share anything with them. They don't know anything about you. They're just there to take care of you in that moment. And that's so true, that I've talked so many like personal things with the hairdresser, even though she's just there for that moment.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it?
And then how did it go from there, from the hairdresser to the counselor? Like which steps did you take?
Well, I remember one particular client hairdressing client disclosing something that was really quite big, and I could tell required more than a hairdressing service. So it pivoted my thinking as to why am I in these people's lives and what is my purpose, really. So off of that thought, I started considering, what do I need to do to become a counsellor? So then I just started training. I started the academic route. I went to an evening class to begin with, then another class, then another class, and I worked my way up to different levels of qualifications, and then pivoted my career from hairdressing into actually clinical work, so working with clients. So, yeah. And around that time of the shift, I was pregnant with my son. So in the transition of becoming a mother and that maternity gap, I was able to leave hairdressing and then pick up volunteer work with more face-to-face counselling type stuff. And it was through volunteering, which I've done for several years. Then I worked my way up through different organisations and different opportunities whilst training at the same time, and then became a counsellor, many years ago now. It's a long time ago now. So.
Yeah, for how long have you been a counsellor?
Maybe 14 years, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe about that.
Yeah.
I've been accredited for 10 years.
It's 10 years.
Well, we have different levels. In the UK, you can be a counsellor. You can be an accredited counsellor, which is like a standard that you are putting yourself in. You affiliated with a governing body, so I'm an accredited counsellor with the British Association of Counselling and Psychotherapy, which is called the BACP. So I know I've been accredited for about 10 years, but prior to being accredited, I was qualified for a few years. So I think I've been practicing for about 14 years. I stopped counting a while ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think also, like, after school, you know, you don't, when you're, 18, you're supposed to choose your life path. It's not always that way. Like, I was supposed to be an engineer, but I changed to be a teacher, and now I'm a voice teacher, intuitive singer, and Reiki healer. So for the ones that listening, like, don't limit yourself to believe that you have to stay with the thing that you chose in the beginning. Like, it's okay to change, you know?
It is. And I think it depends on where you are. Like, there's different seasons in your life where what you're doing might have suited that season you were in at that time. But seasons change, phases come and go.
Yeah, for sure. I actually was guided to be working with arts from school, but I had a friend, and we had talked about that we were gonna open a hotel, and we were like 12 when we said it. But it stayed with me, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a chef in that hotel. So no, I'm not gonna do art. I'm gonna go to the school for being a chef. And I did that. And then my friend, of course, we were just 12. And we were 16 when you choose in Norway to do, like, what's next. And then I followed the path that we had said, but she didn't. And I was so disappointed.
Oh, wow.
So, but that's, you know, it's funny to think about. So, yeah. Okay. So you started your work as a counselor and clinical supervisor, and you were doing that work when I met you at a wellness fair in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
Yes.
Yeah. So, can you share your thinking why you decided to come to Tanzania?
Yeah. Well, I would say it was more to do with feeling very spiritually led. I've got nothing really tangible to say, oh, it was this, other than lockdown, what was happening at the time in the world. And I found that personally really difficult. I found that I don't think I can put into words how challenging I found it. That it happened at that time in my current living circumstances, that I had to do something drastic to shift things for me and my child. So Tanzania was open. So was Mexico. So it was like, I kind of thought, eeny, meeny, that one. So yeah, I went there. I kind of felt what drew me is on a very basic level. I thought, well, my family's Caribbean, but ancestrally they're African. So I just thought, oh, okay, Africa then. Like, it was literally eeny, meeny, that one then. And I had made some friends online who had already gone there some months before, and they were feeding back to me what it was like. So it was giving me a bit of an understanding of what it looked like, what to expect. So when I got there, I figured out this place feels, something about it feels quite homely, something about it. And so I thought, okay, I'll give it a little go. And then it continued for a while, longer than I expected, but it was a positive experience, really. So it was nice to meet you there.
Yeah. For how long did you stay in Tanzania?
Overall, coming and going, with regards to around my son's schooling, it was on and off about 4 years.
Okay. Yeah. I also, there's something, so I'm here in Tanzania because I have my family here, and but I had a session with a lady one time. She did some drumming, and she said connect with like be grateful for say thanks to the ground that you're standing on. And when she guided me through to be thankful for standing on the ground of Tanzania, I got chills because it was like Tanzania was the reason, like it's Tanzania that's been calling me to this experience. Like it's the land that's been calling me, not just my husband, but also the land. So I truly, there's such a magical energy in Tanzania, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And I don't know if you've ever done, I don't know the proper name for it. I'll describe it. So if anyone knows a name for it and I'm butchering it, please forgive me. But there's an astrological chart that you can do where you put in your astrological details and it maps out where you're supposed to be in the world.
Oh.
Yeah. And I done mine some months back and Tanzania was bang on. So I was actually there at the point of where I'm supposed to be at that particular time in my life. I was led there, I went there. And when I looked back at, because it will show you different times, phases, whereabouts in the world to do with energy and ley lines and things. And yeah, I was where I was supposed to be at the right time. So I met the people I was supposed to meet there at the right time, it seems.
Yeah, that's another thing with being in Tanzania. It's like you meet people that have, from all over the world, that has that type of like travelers, curious, openness that it's so interesting to connect with.
Yeah, very. You have to be open to the concept of not knowing what you don't know and going with it, having a level of faith about it. If you're quite closed-minded, I don't think you'd ever leave wherever it is you're born, perhaps.
Yeah.
And you'd stay. Some people, I think, thrive by removing themselves from where they're born. Not everybody. Some people make the most of where they are. Some people can thrive in the town and village and city where they're from. Others, I think, they benefit from leaving where they're from. Their light shines in another place.
That is completely true. Like for my spirit, I was never meant to just stay in Norway forever. Like I knew that I was going to come to Tanzania. There was actually also another time when I was at home with my dad and looking in a book about Africa, and I was like, it was before I even knew about my husband, about Tanzania as an option or anything. I was like, I just got chills and I was like, I'm going to live in Africa at one point. So it's funny how you can know these things.
Yeah, very true. And I had a similar thing when I was a child. I remember sitting in class. One of the good memories of school is opening a book and it had a picture of an African girl. And I remember knowing, oh, I will be traveling to there as well. So sometimes these things, they happen.
Tanzania, when you're here, you have to, it's not very easy to get a job, always. You have to think outside the box. It really sparks your entrepreneurial side for sure. So how did you support yourself while you were here in Tanzania?
Yeah, I had some online client work and that's how I supported myself.
I think that's a good option actually, sometimes to just get an online job. Because also, even if you have a job here, you have to remember that it's a different type of, like the average salary in Tanzania is quite lower than what you're used to Europe, for example,
Yeah.
it's good to have something extra to have type of secure, like you can feel comfortable. In your work as a counselor and clinical supervisor, what happens when clients finally have a release from a thought pattern? You know, sometimes your brain can bring you in a loop. So what happens when the client really breaks that loop?
Yeah, interesting question. I specialize in children, young people, and parents. And sometimes I have private clients that are adults. And it depends on who I'm working with. I find if I'm working with children, change happens quite fluidly a lot of the times. When I'm working with adults tend to be quite rigid. So change is a very different thing. So when I work with children and young people, also children in the schools, what it's like is there's things around them that can show them the benefits of change. So, for example, if a child is in school and they're constantly getting into trouble, detentions, sanctions, things like that, they're constantly reminded of things around them that maybe are not going so well. So there's incentive to change sometimes because there's reminders every day. Like the school environment is pretty harsh, actually. I don't know what it's like there, but the British school system, there tend to be academies. They're strict. They're regimented. So there's going to be constant reminders if you're not falling in line of why you're not falling in line. And it's not very nice, but there's constant reminders of why a child might need to change. So if they are incentivized to change, they sometimes they do. Sometimes they can't change the things around them because they're a child and they're at the mercy of adults. So there's not a lot of things a child can actually change to do with their environment. That makes sense?
Yeah,
they can't overpower a teacher if they feel a teacher's picking on them, and they can't overpower their parent if they feel their parent's picking on them. They have to go with what the adults around them make them do. So the change for them comes more about understanding their autonomy, where they have power and where they don't right now, but they will at some point, and then preparing yourself for that future version of yourself. So the change feels very different. It's like small incremental steps and just letting a child know what options they have, because they can think quite black and white. Oh, this person doesn't talk to me, so therefore I've got no friends. Whereas you can say, yeah, that person might not talk to you, but what about other people that talk to you? Could you make other friends? So you broaden up their perspective. So it's not so black and white. So that's how change can happen for a child. Whereas for an adult, it's very different. Adults, sometimes they can tell themselves why they don't need to change. And they can do that whilst coming to therapy as well, maybe. So it's very different. It depends. I've had so many different characters. Some characters are very open. They want to change. They're desperate for change. And I'm there to help them do that. And that's nice when they start, the pennies drop for them. It's not my job to tell them what to do. So when I start noticing the pennies drop for them, I can reflect it back. But then some people come and they're very resistant to change. So there might not be any that I witnessed as a therapist. It might happen much later down the line for them.
Yeah, it's true. It takes a child can be super upset, and then you can say, I'm also a teacher, and we have some kids sometimes that maybe say, oh, they don't want to play with me, and I say, oh, but that one wants to play with you. Okay. So this leads me to that there's many ways to heal, to release thought patterns. And recently you started, you have your You Me, no, what was it?
You, Me, We.
Yeah,
therapy.
You Me We channel. But you recently started a channel called 8 House Speaks. And that leads me to ask, do you mix your spiritual side with your professional side?
Professionally, no. When I go to my professional job, no, I'm school project manager. It's with another service, and I'm a family practitioner, another service, and that's it. I'm like suited and booted. I do that, I leave. Yeah, so nothing to do with like the personality. My personality comes through, but nothing to do with my spiritual stuff. I stick to lines with that because that's just that particular box in my life. But outside of that, in my own private world, what I'm wanting to do is to create that space where the two can integrate spirituality and spiritual. But that's for a very niche person who's seeking that. So it's not that I would like to share the concept with the masses, but I don't expect the masses to come through my funnel of what I offer. I expect it to be a very niche, particular type of person who's looking for spiritual guidance, but wanting to come from somebody who has a mental health background, a mental well-being background. So the two can merge, but it's only really would suit a client who's spiritually minded. Whereas with counselling, you wouldn't impose your spiritual views on a client. They're quite separate. No. But what I'm offering in terms of my own private practice is someone who's seeking spiritual counsel, spiritual understanding, whilst exploring counselling and talking therapies at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that combination is very powerful because it gives the client, I think, a sense of more security that you know what you're doing, like you have the background in the counseling, but then at the same time you're adding on to that spiritual side where you're connecting with other knowings, and then you combine the two. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep. With the clients that you've done this work with, what is their feedback?
The feedback is really, I think what it's brought to people's mind is the power of free will. I don't think people people know these terms like karma, the shadow, the inner child, your higher self. They're all different concepts. But another concept that's really quite powerful is free will. So you can change things. You can have something that seems that could be destined, but you could make a different decision off your own free will and pivot and put yourself on a different timeline, a different trajectory, good or bad or neutral, based on the decisions that you make as a person. And that's your own free will. And there's many moving pieces to free will. It can be influenced by your childhood wounding.
That's something that I've been thinking about lately, actually, because I enjoy card readings and things like that, and especially when you choose. I'm listening to someone called White Feather Tarot, and you pick a card from 3 cards, and then she will read that card. And I think I've noticed that if I'm feeling that I'm in a timeline of stress, the cards that I pick, they're kind of quite stressful. They're just saying like, no, it's not going to happen in time. It's you're still waiting for it to happen. And then when I'm in a time of ease and relaxation, the timeline is moving towards what I want quicker, like according to the cards, you know?
Yeah.
At that point, it's like, yes, within this month, you're going to have what you desire and things like that. So I think when you say free will, that's what I'm thinking. Like you have a free will to choose which timeline you want to go on. Like, are you going to choose the stressful one or the easy one, you know?
Yeah. And if you don't like what you hear in something like a reading, you have the ability to change it. Think of it as like a weather report. If somebody told you it was raining outside, do you want to step out in a vest or would you bring an umbrella? You know, like there's things you can do to help yourself.
I have to say this for YouTube purposes that what we're talking about is, of course, just for entertaining purposes only. So if you're having like difficult emotions and things like that, please contact your counselor or doctor.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Now let's get into your voice journey. That's what this is, the healing power of your voice. So can you remember where you were when you first started singing and how it felt?
No, I can't remember where I was. It would have been, I was raised going to church, so it would have been probably something church related and too young for me to remember. So it wasn't something that was introduced. It was singing in church was just a standard expectation with the rest of the congregation singing songs. So yeah, that would have been that.
Growing up, I always sang, like for everyone. I think I was always singing, but there was a time when I remember, especially where in a community house where I lived, they had a stage, and I don't remember why, but there was a mic on stage, and I waited until everyone were out, and then I sang my go-to tune, "Hero" by Mariah Carey. And for me, that felt so nice. Can you share with us the first time you sang in front of an audience?
I don't remember ever having singing publicly, like by myself in front of an audience, other than being in a choir, a gospel choir, where we done one event and we'd go to practices several weeks. That was so long ago, over 20 years ago. I can't even remember when. It was a very long time ago. Must be over 25 years ago.
Wow.
Other than that, I haven't sang publicly.
But was it like a normal practice for you to sing at home, or like you sang always at home by yourself?
Yeah, just by myself. It wasn't something I ever done to perform in front of anybody. It's just a very private thing. I sing at home, maybe if I'm in the shower. If I'm around people that I feel very, very comfortable with. It feels quite intimate to me. I don't just sing publicly. I haven't got that. I haven't been around that environment where I would.
But you said that until you were 8, you wanted to be the backup singer of Bob Marley. So there was some type of feeling in you that you must have.
Yeah, but I don't have any recollection of it being encouraged or asked. That's what I was saying about my school back. It's not that it didn't happen, but I'm saying I have no recollection of being fed into what it is you are wanting to do and someone put work on it. So I knew I had an idea of that, but it sounds like no one paid attention to me as a child. I mean, I can't remember. They might have. I have no much recollection of it. But So singing was something I had wanted to do, but I think I didn't, because those things to me take encouragement and someone outside of you maybe like validating it. So I had that bit, I would say there's a little bit of a disconnect. So I never did anything about singing until I found your singing coach voice exercise.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing, because your voice, it sounds like you should have been on a stage and shared your voice with people.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah.
Maybe you can sing a little bit and add on your 8th house of what was it? 8th house.
Speak.
Add singing to your YouTube.
Yeah, maybe, because singing can be channeling, and a message can come through a song, can come through a melody, can come through something. So if I feel drawn to, yeah, I would. Because, say, for example, if a particular feeling or concept I wanted to convey to somebody, but it had to be done in a song. Yeah, like I can think of a particular card, for example, like the 5 of Cups. There's a song that comes to mind when I think of that. So like by Jagged Edge. Feels like I just walked right out of heaven. Feels like I just damn it from my life away. Yeah, it's like a man who's feels like he's just walked out of heaven. He's just self-sabotaged his relationship and he's lost something very deep, and he's pouring his heart out through that song. So it reminds me of the 5 of Cups, which is a card that represents deep sorrow, regret, loss, grief. Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And you said that you were having lessons with me, which was such a blessing for me to have you at my lessons. And I believe truly that if you're listening and you think, no, I can't sing, yes, you can sing, because I've had people that had been called tone deaf their whole life, and then just by learning techniques and things like the breathing and everything that we did in your lessons, they can, and you were not at any point off tune at all. With you, what I felt with you when we were working together is like, I wanted to just help you open up, to just sing out freely. That was my goal with you. So can you share a little how voice lesson was a benefit to you?
Oh, I wish I could have more, actually. So like, it has been a huge benefit. You're right about just that opening up. I think singing, or not even singing, just this area of your self-expression can be shut down by so many different subconscious things and inhibitions. So to be in your class and have somebody pay attention to help you open that up and loosen it energetically even was really quite useful, because what it done is it made me aware of where I'm not opening up and what needs to be done and what the blockages are. Maybe more aware of the blockages, and actually how much that could be about almost wanting to shine, but feeling like your shine might blind somebody. They might have a problem with it, and then they're going to make your life more difficult. It's just like a kind of like a half-formed idea. Like it's other people having a problem with that. Yeah, so it made me kind of wonder, why do I think like that? Because on most of my way I live and some of my life, I don't care too much about what other people think, but yet there was something that was blocking me there with that. And I think working with you helped that. And my channel 8th House Speaks is about actually verbally expressing. And the reason I called it 8th House Speaks is because spiritually minded people would know the 8th house is where Scorpio resides. I'm a Scorpio. So it's about speaking from that depth that people can find uncomfortable sometimes, but yet there's a lot to gain from it. So being able to speak through even discomfort, challenges, inhibitions, blockages, but pushing through with a message, whether it's singing or talking, because once you get past the blockages, you'll open up into a much freer space of self-expression. So really it's about self-expression.
Wow, that's beautiful. I think sometimes people get like tarot cards, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's something scary and things like, but I believe that you can use them however, in what intention you want to. So you can use them in a bad intention, and you can use them in a healing intention. And when you're using them in a healing intention, they give so much healing to people, for sure, those cards.
Yeah.
I also lay some cards sometimes. I use, lately I've been using Kuan Yin.
Okay.
And her guidance. But I've also dabbled a little bit with tarot, and when I've laid cards for someone and showed like, this is how your life is right now, but it could be like this. And it's like you see them also. It's like, what I think the cards show is they show your energy in that moment, right? That's how I see it. And then in that moment, it's like, okay, you might feel stuck now, but your energy is telling you that if you release this thing, this is where you're going.
Yeah.
And I've seen that with someone that I laid card for, where there was a big blockage. They took away the blockage, and after the blockage, it said that your life is going to be much better. And they took away the blockage, and the life is flourishing. So, yeah, there's so many beautiful. Yeah. Okay. And so we were talking about the voice, and in this July, I'm holding a retreat in Zanzibar, and we will, amongst many other things, learn simple voice techniques and exercises to open up our voices and reconnect with our true voices. And for the ones that are still here listening to me and Jackie, this is a gift for you. I'm going to share 3 simple sounds that will help you start reconnecting with your voice right now. Are you ready?
Yeah, am I joining you?
You can join me. Yeah. I hope the audio will catch it, but let's see. So the first sound is to connect with the lower notes. It's the sound
Yeah.
like hurt, So if you want to have those lower notes, you say and that it helps you to be in contact with the lower notes. You can't say on higher pitches like you want to say no, it becomes a or yeah. And then the notes for the lower, now the middle parts of the voice, it's the vowel is ah, so you say ah, ah, and then for the higher pitches, E is a good sound. Say E. Could you hear that E, or did it cut out?
It was very silent. I mean, very not silent, but it was very subtle.
Okay, yeah. Because if I say too loud, it's going to cut out the stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. What I wanted to do now is that something that we're also going to do at the retreat is learn how to sing for someone. And the way that I do is intuitively I hear a tone in my mind, and I sing the first tone that comes. And I believe that I sing the frequency of your energy field. So may I sing for you and connect with your highest timeline?
Yeah.
Yeah. This sounds my fallout, but the energy transmission that will come through will still be there. That's how I feel like. So I will connect with you. And first, I always like to ground, so you can hold your heart. And feel the heartbeat in your arms, in the shoulder, in your feet, and feel the heartbeat go straight down to the core of the earth. And wait for the heartbeat to come back from the loving core of the earth. And then send a heartbeat from your heart through your head. And it ripples out through the universe. The universe feels all your love, and it multiplies it, millionize it, and it sends all that love back to your heart. And now I'm going to connect with Jackie's highest timeline. Wow, your timeline is beautiful.
Really? Great. What a relief.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, good.
Okay. Now, I always like to end my podcasts with a prayer for the future for the world. And my prayer is a song, of course. And the world is in a time of massive change and upheaval.
Yeah.
And think that we have the power to heal the world with the vibration through our voices, for sure.
Yeah.
And our intentions. So please join us as we connect to the highest timeline of the earth and sing for love. So I will start, and you can join if you feel like, and add whatever tone that comes to your heart.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I can feel the love. Oh, and so nice. Bob Marley has so much love. He brought the love with him today, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely made a big influence on many people. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Finally, this talk has been so wonderful. I love talking with you, Jackie.
Me too. Catching up with you. Nice.
Yeah. Finally, what do you think we can do when we use the healing power of our voices?
I think we can do a lot. So it can be through singing, it can be through articulation. The things we speak, we can do with intention, of honourable intentions, and to be intentional. It's hot here as well. To be intentional about the things that we. Yeah, it actually is. It is. This is one of the best bits of sun we've had this year. It's like heat wave. But yeah, we can, like the whole concept of what I do as a counsellor is about helping someone find the words or the self-expression, because not everyone has words, especially if there's somebody who's got communication needs that are different. So that could be done through singing. It can be done through drawing. It can be done, but at some point, some level of some communication would need to maybe come from the lips, even if it's just a groan. Somebody can just groan and sigh, and it's enough for you to bridge a gap between how they're feeling and what they're trying to express. So forms of self-expression through noises that our bodies make, particularly at this end of our body. Our bodies can make noises a lot lower down. But I mean, this end up, the noises we can make through here can bring about a lot of what's happening in the heart space, in the mind space, and get it from inside to out. That then can, you don't know what that could bring to another person. It could change their world. It could change their perspective on something. They might have decided to go down one route. They've heard something from you and they've chosen something different, and their life opens up You'll never know what you could mean to another person if you don't share.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's beautiful. So this has been the healing power of your voice. Now go heal somebody with your voice.
Yeah, lovely.